Hello again. This is Rory T with episode 4, and I am back and more sober than yesterday. Today's been an interesting day. I kind of want to start off this talk with something I had to do today, which was go to the grocery store. I used to go to the grocery store all the time. I still do, although sometimes I'd say I get pretty lazy and I use Instacart. That is not a sponsor yet. But today I was in the store and I was walking down the chip aisle, and in my grocery store, the chip aisle just so also happens to be the beer aisle. And in the past, I would go up and down grocery store aisles planning meals to cook while meticulously forgetting things so that I could drink on the way home by getting beer from the store and then being home for a little bit of time and ultimately saying, "Oh crap! Guess what? I got to go back out. I forgot to get a. I forgot to get salt for the steak." And I'd stop at the gas station right before, get a beer or two, drink those on the way to the store, get what I needed to get, a couple beers on the way home. And being in the store today, I was able to actually walk down that aisle and smile because it's so different now that walking down that aisle early on in recovery was like painstaking because it was a constant reminder of what that store meant to me when I was drinking. And looking back at it now, what a waste of time, what a waste of effort. And I've said this time and time again, how much time have we wasted putting the effort we did into having a drink? And, as I was going through the store, picking up stuff for the wife, the kids, family. It made me think of something that my wife and I were talking about the other day, which is how our recovery affects our family. The support that we get from our family typically falls by the wayside, if I'm being honest, because in recovery, the focus is solely on us, and we constantly looking for that validation, like, "Hey, I'm getting help, I'm doing better, I'm not fucking up anymore." And we let the support of our family fall by the wayside. We let what we did to our family, to our wives, to our husbands, to our kids, we let that kind of drown out. But for good reason. For some of you, I can't answer that question. For myself, it's embarrassment because 12 years I put turmoil on my family, my wife, especially. No, my mom and dad, sister, no one knew. Friends, no one knew. Even my wife, she knew, but she didn't fully grasp the how extreme the situation was. The first time I went into treatment, I had to get help financially, mentally, just to get in there, but I didn't want to be there. And even though I had the support of everyone around me, I ultimately kind of abused the situation to a sense like, okay, look at everyone looking at me and how messed up I am. And I'm getting all the attention, even though the attention was bad. Well, now it's good because I'm getting help. And that abusement of recovery was ultimately the demise for 12 years. Because once I went into AA, again, I had the support of my family, my wife, um, and just everyone around me that were proud of me, so proud of me for doing this, for doing that. And quite frankly, it's so exhausting, but you take it because it looks like you're doing something good for all the bad you've been doing. Being in recovery again, my parents helped me out. I've never got the opportunity to thank them because ultimately what they care about, what our family cares about is our well-being. There's all, our family cares about us. Our friends care about us. Everyone around us cares about us. Even our dogs care about us. When they give you that little tilt the head, they care. And but the abuse of the recovery part when we're not ready is almost worse in a way because we're putting the effort to show that we're willing to get help, no matter how that help is received. And when we go back off the wagon, we don't truly get feelings back from the ones we love. Almost as if, oh, well, there he goes again. Or maybe some of you hear what I feel like I heard was, well, were you really an alcoholic? Deep down, absolutely. But no, I wasn't, because I wasn't done drinking. For me, my wife was through so much turmoil, so much agony. Even though it was across 12 years, it seemed to always be let go. But eventually, the times we stack that letting go on top, on top, on top, on top, it's just, there's nowhere else for it to go. And that's when ultimately we have a fork in the road. We have to choose. Do I actually have a problem, and do I need help? Sure, I've been in recovery multiple times. Sure, I've been to AA. Sure, I've done it on my own. But is there actually a problem here? Is she right? And yes, the answer is yes, because we don't see problems we're causing. We only forget them. We only hide behind the drinking, hide behind the abusing, because it's not easy facing validity of sobriety. It's these amends that we have to make sober. Because in the past, throw a couple beers back, everything feels right again. Family is so important in recovery. And one thing that I've come to find that, the wife and I talked about was there's not a lot of help for families out there. There's groups like Al-Anon, which some of you may or may not have heard. There's other support groups, but when someone like myself is in recovery, the focus is on me. The focus is on the person getting help. It's almost like it's not fair, because the family needs that support too. The family needs guidance on how to help us, but also on how to understand what we're going through. Because ultimately, only alcoholics in recovery or addicts in recovery know what we're going through, because we're living it. We're living it every day. We're talking about it every day. So the family needs support too. My parents, they just want what's best for me. And I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there that are the exact same. Friends are the exact same. Brothers, sisters, and yes, I'm going to say it again, dogs. They just want what's best for us. So we can't let that fall by the wayside, because once we're at a point where we feel like we're recovering and we're exercising every route to continue recovery daily, we can't let our family support fall by the wayside. So we have to remember to appreciate that support, because a lot of the times without support, we're not going anywhere. We're nothing. Fall off the bandwagon again. Sure, that's extreme cases. There's hero stories. There's people who have done what I've tried to do, where they've done it on their own and they've had 20, 30 years of sobriety. But at least for me, without the support, without my wife, without my mom, my dad, my sister, and now my kids, without them supporting, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be sober. I wouldn't be understanding what it's like to actually understand how to live life. So I have to remember to show love. We have to remember to show love, give back. And yes, every day I focus on my recovery, but I don't want to let the support fall by the wayside, because without it, I'm nothing.